Should Boris Johnson head to the jungle and take part in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here? 0207 862 2222 is the number to give us a ring. It has been reported that the former Prime Minister was in talks with ITV to take part in the reality show later this year following his former Cabinet Minister Matt Hancock's stint in the Australian jungle last year. So sources suggest that Johnson pushed for a deal which would have dwarfed the $400,000 paid to Hancock. Earlier, Boris Johnson's friend and former advisor, Culver Ranger, had this to say to Jeremy.
I could imagine ITV bosses being very desperate to get Boris in because he is box office. He's a unique politician, he's a unique individual, and I could imagine viewers turning in their millions for whatever reason to watch him. I think the challenge for him would be he'd get bored.
Now, Boris has yet to officially confirm or deny the reports, but should he follow his former colleagues like Matt Hancock and Nadine Dorries and head down under? And is Culver right? Would Boris be Bush Tucker trials, box office hits? Is this something you would tune in to watch, Marvyn?
No, I wouldn't tune in to watch it. I find him very difficult to know that he exists well in life.
That he exists?
I just can't, I cannot stand it. I think the part of him that I find the most disgusting is just how he pretends to be so bumbling through the level of errors that exist in his human existence. I feel like he would go on there and just like eat the stuff and not realise what it is, put his thumb up and just be like a Brexit slogan or something. He would use it as a selling opportunity, and I do not feel he should be platformed. I think he just needs to just slyly just sail off into the abyss, into the wilderness, and reflect on his contribution to humanity so far.
But surely this would be a place where he could let his sort of bumbling nature and his sort of, the thing that everybody loved about him initially just let loose. It's probably the most natural setting for it, is it not,
Can
Carole?
I just say, it's never, ever going to happen. A spokesman has categorically denied that he's in talks and he's not going to be in talks. I think he would be box office if they could have persuaded him. And
would you watch it?
Oh, hell yes.
Would you vote?
Would I vote?
For him to do one of the Bush
Well, it depends what he's done. I might vote him off, but it depends what he's doing. But the bottom line is, the rumour is he's been offered $700,000, but he's never going to do it, not in a million years. Hancock did it because he was finished in politics and there was nowhere else for he had nothing to lose. I think he got about 400. Nadine Dorries did it for the same reason, didn't have much to lose. Boris, wants to come back as a politician. He wants to come back as the Prime Minister again. So he's categorically never going to do this, not in a million years. And ITV chiefs are being quite naughty to put this out and saying that he's even considering it, because of course he's not. Not in a million years.
It'd spark a lot of people's interest, especially for those surprise guests that happen later on in the series. John from Kent, what's your thoughts on this? Would you be happy to watch Boris Johnson chow down on some unthinkables?
I don't want to give him any more limelight, and I don't think it's right for him to do bush tucker trials and eat insects just for entertainment. So there's even strong evidence that insects feel pain, and I know that celebrities and Boris would not be causing them to suffer for taste pleasure in the same way that like people pay for animals to suffer and be killed for their taste pleasure for meat. But I still find
John,
it
you've went way off there, and I feel like you're calling with something else to do. Oh, you're criticising I'm a Celebrity. I see. Okay, that is an entirely different debate to be had. But I see why you went off on that tangent then. So you wouldn't be for Boris Johnson, but Matt Hancock did it.
Yeah, but it's still just to save their careers and just for entertainment, and I don't think.
Do you think it makes a difference that actually Boris Johnson is a former Prime Minister, and actually once you get to that office, you shouldn't be indulging in that? There has to be some sort of decorum about that position, even if it's passed.
I mean, there's no decorum in the way that he behaved in office, so I don't see why it would be any difference, really, if he did it as opposed to Matt Hancock or anyone else. It's just all about their careers, really, and it's not about anything else. I
suppose the difference is
I take issue with that. It's not about his career at all. I mean,
it's always about their career.
No, Matt Hancock went on for money. Very simply, he went. What good?
I don't think so. I think he went
in some bizarre way.
I think he went in to make people like him again, and he managed it. He got into the final.
Yes, he did. But people generally don't like him. And it's how many chat shows has he got since that? Nothing. What's he doing?
Not
Nothing.
much. John, thank you very much. Roy from the West Midlands, what's your thoughts thoughts on this? I suppose his difference between Nadine Dorries and Matt Hancock is they were serving MPs at the time. Boris Johnson is now just, a normal resident.
I feel that the people who love him would love to see him on it, and the people who hate him would vote him on every bush sucker trial there was. But
I think actually this could work in his favour.
Of course it could, but everybody tries to get the best out of their life, and we all know that rank has its privileges. I spent 12 years in the army watching it, and I don't agree with Boris having his parties and such like. But he did do what he said he would. He got us out of Europe, and lots of people hate him for that, but the majority who voted for it, I don't think they're that much against what he did.
Okay, so, it sounds like you're slightly on the fence there with Boris Johnson, sort of pro some things and anti others. So just to sort of surmise what you've just said, would you be happy to see him do a Bush-Tucker trial?
Yes, I would. He's
you would?
a guy, isn't he?
Okay, Roy would be watching, so they'd at least get one viewer.
It's not an appropriate consequence for the way that he governed the country in any way, shape or form. It's almost like we're laughing at what the impact of his governance of the country is. It's like, I feel like if he...
It would be forgetting the victims again.
Yeah, if he had a genuine form of consequence for his way, then afterwards came out and did it, I think that's within his right. But the idea that he's trying to hold some sort of esteem in the country still and actually saving himself for a potential another run for some sort of office is almost laughable. The fact that he can consider it at that point, there just isn't enough consequence for politicians who lead our country really badly. And the fact that they can just rehabilitate themselves with a couple of interviews, I appreciate it's
whether
not
he should
Carole.
come back. It's a democratic thing. If
I
people want him
appreciate
back,
that.
he will be back.
But what my point is the fact that you can do so bad at something and have another chance to potentially do it is one of the most mind-boggling things ever. And it isn't enough consequence for politicians who do a terrible job.
And actually, apparently,
he lost his job.
This is just
that was the consequence.
But the fact that he can consider coming
he lost
back.
his job.
Potentially this will just encourage personality politics, which is not necessarily beneficial.
He's not going
for
to
the
do it.
country.
I mean, there's no way Boris has said he's going to do this. He has said categorically he will not
We're
do
living
this.
in a world where they may offer him more money and maybe
They won't. He won't do it. I
Okay.
mean, we know he likes a few bob to make a few bob. He's not. He can make that by writing a book.
Roy, thanks for your call. Dawn from Dorset, what's your views? Would you watch?
Okay, I missed some of that. Look, I just want to quickly say that he's a Gemini, and I qualified in astrology, and I'm telling you, being fun, mercurial, an air sign, he'll get all round the room, he'll talk to everyone. He's actually in his ideal job to go and do something like that. Ronald Reagan.
Dawn, this is exactly what I was saying, actually. Considering his personality, doing reality TV is right up his street.
Yeah, well, being an air sign, he's not an earth sign. He hasn't got his feet grounded, has he? So how will he work out all the finances? Look at all his kids and all his relationships that have gone wrong and everything.
Okay,
Look at all the money.
But the problem with that, Dawn, is he was a former Prime Minister. Would you see, I mean, even Trump, he did do his own reality TV show, but do you think he'd be on I'm a Celebrity? Do you think Biden would do it?
No, I don't think Joe Biden probably wouldn't go on something like that. But who knows with people, anything can change.
Barack Obama, don't think he'd do that.
I think Cameron would do it.
Cameron wouldn't do it. Don't you think there has to be, once you get to that level in politics, that level in office, running a country, do you not think you have a responsibility to keep a bit of respect?
No, only if you're credible.
Well, responsibility or not, when you've got nuclear war, Third World War at stake, and you talk prisons, and we're all effectively going to be in a prison if something comes over here, I think we've got to start changing things pretty quickly.
Don, that took a real turn there.
Yeah, it did.
Thank you for your call. Sue from London, would you watch I'm a Celeb if Boris Johnson was on it?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't because, my niece met him in April 2019. Fast forward a year, they were both in hospital. Unfortunately, my niece passed away and he survived. But it's done since then, all the lies and everything else. I just think it's appalling the way that families of all the COVID victims it will upset them so much. I think, he really needs to have some thought for other people for once.
It's interesting, actually, because even the discussion that we've had at the moment is revolved around, will he get paid enough money? Would this be good for his career? And actually, you're right, Sue. Potentially the huge, not individual, the huge proportion of people that we're forgetting about are people that lost people during COVID, the people that were lost in COVID and in all the potentially wrong decisions that were made. So thank you very much for your call. Thanks for all your calls on this. As Carole's made very clear, she doubts that he'll be on it. I think I probably
he'll be there in less than 5 years.
I don't know if it will be because of the victims. I think it might be more because of the money he can.
I think it's because he wants to come back into politics at some point.